Earlier today, we got a trailer for a new Sonic game. This seems to be the new classic Sonic game that everyone has been spreading rumors about. We now have confirmation that it's going to exist though, and I've got to say, it looks great. I'm not going to set the bar too high for this game or go in expecting it to be better than Mania, because that's gone so well in the past. But, with the series beginning to redeem itself, I'd say there's a good chance of this game being very well done. So let's take a look at everything the trailer shows us. First, we see some Sonic 2 gameplay. This made me a little worried that this was going to be another package of classic games. The name Sonic Superstars didn't help, which I wasn't happy about since Origins was controversial enough already. But as it turns out, this isn't the case. This isn't just a 3D glow-up of Sonic 2 either. It's an entirely new classic Sonic game. Visually speaking, it's incredible. Already, I'm getting nostalgia from both New Super Mario Bros. And Sonic Lost World, which seems to be what this game is being based off of. We're also shown the first of 3 new areas to this game. The first is a seaside version of Green Hill Zone. We also see the game is likely going to play out a lot like Mania did, which is great because the gameplay in Mania is the best I've seen in a classic Sonic game. I'm glad they're sticking with it and improving on the old formula, rather than trying to change it up like Sonic 4 did. We also see another level, a sunset variation of Green Hill Zone. This is likely either a different level in the same area or its own area entirely. There are also these odd tiles and glowing boost rings. This design is probably connected to whatever the lore the game ends up having, but I won't go theorizing until we have more information. We also see a jungle area, except unlike the one in Forces, this looks actually good. There's also rail grinding here, which is pretty rare for a classic Sonic game to have. The jungle itself also has a lot of different ruins in it. This makes me wonder if this is on South Island or West Side Island, or a brand new island. Maybe North or East Island are finally getting a game. Hey, editing the fell here. I'm just here to say that it is confirmed that this is going to take place on North Star Island. So yes, North Island is finally getting its own game. We also see a digital area. This is probably near the end of the game and is already giving me some ideas about what Eggman may be up to this time. Because this is a classic Sonic game, I'm assuming this is happening in the earlier part of the timeline, i.e. before the adventure games, meaning this isn't inspired by cyberspace. Whatever it is though, it's cool and I like it. We also get to play as Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. I can't imagine they'll control any differently than how they do in Origins, but I'm glad they're here. It also looks like this game will be multiplayer, and I'm not sure if it'll work like it does in other games where there's really only one person playing and the other characters just kind of follow them around and get left behind a lot. I'm sure they'll find some way to make it work where there's not just one sole main player though. In the seaside area, we also see an enormous mechanical eel, probably foreshadowing some sort of boss fight that comes in that area. It's giving me war flashbacks about the giant fish in Generations though. Ugh. This game also has interesting new power-ups and abilities. The first one we see turns you into a ghost from Pac-Man and basically acts as a P-balloon. Instances like this can be pretty fun, although stressful if well done, so I'm excited to see what is done with this. There's also a water ability. One thing I want to point out is that these abilities are activated automatically when you pass a certain point, meaning there are less power-ups and more parts of the level. This isn't a complaint though. This just means there will be more opportunity for these to be used in actually fun and unique ways, especially since you can't lose them by getting hit once. The water ability seems to let you scale waterfalls and maybe interact with the background too. Either that or you can always interact with the background, though this is a 2D Sonic game and has a lot of 3D elements, one of which you're going to see right now. We now get to see some of the special stages in the game. The first one is in full-on 3D. In some kind of crystal/chemistry dimension. We also see here that instead of looking for Chaos Emeralds in these, we're instead trying to get a giant coin. This makes me think that the Chaos Emeralds will serve a bigger purpose in the game, and the coins will probably just be some kind of trophy. Editing the fell here again. Yes, as it has been confirmed, the Chaos Emeralds will serve a greater purpose in the game. They are what actually give you the powers that we've seen in the trailers so far, and as such, they probably won't be gained from these special stages. Of course, like in Mania, I'm sure there will be some kind of reward for collecting the coins. There's also, of course, the traditional Sonic 1 stage, but the background looks interesting here. In the back you can see another layer of the stage. Maybe the coin takes you back there. It's too early to say, but again, I'm excited to see where this goes. We also see the jungle boss, or at least a jungle boss, which appears to be a giant dragonfly. Seeing this already makes my senses tingle about what the bosses in this game could be. I'm assuming this is just a mini-boss, but even then, it's rendered so well. It makes me excited for what both other mini-bosses and the actual bosses could be. Speaking of actual bosses, we get what I'm assuming is the main boss of the seaside area, a smaller variation of the Death Egg robots. This was to be expected from a classic rendition of a Sonic game. What I was not expecting was what Sonic does in response to it. Sonic makes a bunch of clones of himself and has them all run in the machine. This looks to be some kind of new power, and that looks like what the game is going to play with a lot. individualism between the four main characters, and I'm all for it. The bosses seem pretty hefty too. Though we don't know what their defeat animation looks like, the robot flashed white 6 times during the sequence and didn't fall apart. Lastly, it looks like Fang's returning to the series, a character who hasn't been used ever, so it's cool to see him again. All in all, my head is being filled with childhood excitement chemicals that I haven't gotten since I first played Sonic Lost World 10 years ago. I'm obviously not going in expecting to relive my childhood, but I do really hope this game ends up being good. Since this is a classic Sonic game, it's pretty much guaranteed that Eggman will be the final boss here, and I'm okay with that. I've had grievances with him being an antagonist in the past, but that's only for the modern series. For the more lighthearted and silly side of the classic series, it's perfectly sensible for him to take the role of the big bad. I wonder if Metal Sonic will be in this game. He was in Triple Trouble, so there's a chance he'll make a return here as well. Editing Mifel here one more time. So, it has been confirmed that there will be a new villain in this game. I'm not entirely sure who this new villain will be yet, but maybe they will take the final role from Eggman after all, though I wouldn't count my blessings before they hatch. We'll just have to see. Well, I'll stop talking now, since I'm sure you have better things to do. I have 2 new Sonic-related videos in production as I'm writing this, though, so expect those within the next couple days if you're interested. See ya!